When my fiancée and I were finalizing our wedding plans, her best friend decided to throw a wrench in the works. A $50,000 security fund? That's nothing. You should be asking for at least 75. And he only covered the down payment on the condo. What a cheapskate. You need to make him sign an agreement, put the condo, the car, everything in your name. My fiancée, Jess, bought into it completely. She ambushed me with new demands just before the wedding, threatening to call the whole thing off. What she didn't realize until the day of the ceremony was that the wedding was still on. The bride was just someone else. After 3 straight weeks of pulling overtime, I came home with a bouquet of roses, planning to surprise my fiancé. Instead, I walked in on their late-night chat. "You're really going to marry him for just 50 grand? You're too naive, Jess. A marriage without a real financial foundation is a house of cards," her friend Chloe said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Besides, Ethan's got that look about him, and he's working late all the time. I bet he's seeing someone on the side. Working late, getting a massage, just grabbing a quick drink with the guys. The holy trinity of men's lies. Just make him sign it all over to you. The condo, the car, his savings. Everything." My head started spinning, a hot rush of anger flooding my senses. 50,000 was nothing. These two were pulling in maybe 3 grand a month tops. Did they have any idea how long it takes to save that kind of money? Do they know the sacrifices I made, the endless hours I worked to put that money aside for our future? The one talking was Chloe Turner, Jess's co-worker and inseparable best friend. I'd always try to be nice to her, even ordering her food when I got takeout for Jess, or buying her a small gift when I bought one for my fiancé. Every time, she'd smile and say, "The maid of honor is like a mini mother-in-law. You're so considerate, Ethan. If you two ever fight, I'll always be on your side." And this is how she repays me. Jess wanted the condo, the car, the $50,000 security fund. But almost every penny I'd earned over the years had been spent on her. To meet these wedding demands, I've been working myself to the bone, sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night, practically living at the office just to stay efficient. And now she thought it was too little. She was calling me a cheapskate and demanding I sign away my assets. On what grounds? My parents made the down payment on that condo, and my personal 401k is tied to the mortgage. My parents bought the car for me, paid in full. She spent my money freely, and I never said a word, believing it was my responsibility to provide for my future wife. But they crossed a line when they started scheming to take what belonged to my parents. I let out a cold, bitter laugh. I decided right then and there I would make Jess cut this woman out of her life. But then I heard Jess's voice. "I think 50,000 is too little too. It's all going to my parents anyway. So what's in it for me? When he gets back, you can help me talk to him. We're raising it to 75. I mean, what does he really have going for him? He's a broke-ass loser with a dead-end job. The only thing he has is his looks. No one else would even want him. He can't even come up with the money himself. He has to borrow it. It's so annoying. If the invitations hadn't already gone out, I'd cancel the whole thing. I don't care if he has to borrow it from friends or beg his parents. The only thing that matters is the money in my hands." I stumbled back a step, a chill running down my spine. I couldn't believe it. Were those words really coming from Jess? This is what she said about me behind my back. All this time, I thought Chloe was just a toxic influence, filling her head with garbage. But it turned out Jess agreed with every word. They were cut from the same cloth. They must have heard me, because the door swung open. They looked surprised to see me for a second, but neither of them said anything. I stared at Jess's face, searching for any sign of regret, of remorse, of anything. There was nothing, even knowing I'd heard everything. She wore an expression of pure entitlement. She even had the nerve to frown, as if I were the one inconveniencing her. "Don't you have anything to say to me?" I asked, my voice dangerously low. "Jess, don't you have an explanation?" We had been together for 7 years. I always believed that even if the initial spark had faded, we were a team, and any problem could be solved as long as we were on the same side. I never imagined that being a team was just my own wishful thinking. Jess was a freshman when I was a junior in college. She wasn't as polished back then. It was always a simple ponytail, a white t-shirt, and jeans. I was an RA doing room checks and saw her outside, hand-washing her clothes. I asked her about it out of curiosity. She blushed, her voice barely a whisper, explaining that she was a bit of a germaphobe and felt hand-washing got things cleaner. She even offered to wash my clothes for me if I had any. So shy, yet offering to do laundry for a guy she barely knew. I found it charming and remembered her. After that, we kept running into each other, until she finally confessed that she'd had a crush on me for a long time, and all those chance encounters had been carefully orchestrated by her. After we got together, her gifts were always handmade. When I took her out to eat, she once cried with joy over a meal at the Cheesecake Factory. That's when I learned about her tough background. Her family had no money, she was on student loans, and she juggled part-time jobs and credit cards to get by. I felt for her. I paid off her debts. A few years later, with my parents' help, I bought the condo we were meant to live in after the wedding, and we moved in together. I made a point of taking her to nice restaurants, trying to make up for her difficult past. I held on to the memory of those sweet early days. Jess's career never really took off. Her salary stuck around $3,000 a month, so I covered most of our expenses while she handled the housework. When did it all change? My eyes drifted to a corner of the living room, where a stack of smart home gadgets, a robot vacuum, an air purifier, a smart speaker, sat collecting dust. Jess had complained that chores were too exhausting, so she used my money to buy them. Then she became too lazy to even load the dishwasher. I'd come home from a 12-hour day to find takeout containers overflowing from the trash and a messy kitchen counter had to clean. On a shelf nearby sat her collection of designer bags, expensive skincare, and beauty devices. Because I felt bad about her childhood, I tried to give her everything she wanted so she would never have to envy anyone else. The price was me working more and more overtime, even picking up freelance gigs online to make ends meet. But now, the woman standing in front of me was a stranger, her expression cold as she spat insults. "Say what?" "About the money," she sneered. "Fine, I'll be direct. I want $100,000. If you can't come up with it, the wedding is off. I just want to see you make an effort. Is that so wrong? You can't even give me a basic sense of security. You should really take a look at yourself and your own issues." Back home, anyone with a bit of self-respect gets at least 75 grand. Chloe's cousin got married last week, and her fiancé gave her a check for $200,000. In this condo, you only made the down payment. You expect me to help you pay off the mortgage. You're so calculating. And don't even get me started on your parents. A $20,000 car. Is that a joke? Their son is getting married, and that's all they contribute. How am I supposed to show my face? And you expect me to be grateful. Other guys send dozens and dozens of roses. She mentioned the $200,000 check, but conveniently forgot to mention that Chloe's cousin's family was loaded. 9-figure net worth loaded. The bride's family had matched the groom's gift with $500,000 in cash and a vacation home as a wedding present. I used to think Chloe was just a mooch. Every time we went out, she expected me and Jess to pay. Jess had an excuse for that, too. She claimed being friends with Chloe was strategic, a way to tap into her family's network to help me find a better, less stressful job. And what did I say at the time? Oh, right. I was touched by her thoughtfulness. I told her she didn't have to put up with Chloe for my sake, that her man was capable enough to build his own future without sucking up to the rich. Nothing ever came of it. I thought I had convinced Jess, but looking back, she was probably just saying whatever she needed to say to pacify me. If Chloe really wanted to help, why hadn't she gotten Jess a better job? She was still stuck in that dead-end position, never even considered for a promotion. Why I brought that up once, Jess got defensive. She said it was because they were friends that she couldn't ask for favors. It would look like nepotism and start office gossip about Chloe. I looked at her, really looked at her, and in that instant, my decision was made. So, no 100 grand, no wedding, is that it? I set my voice flat. Fine, we're done. This is my place. You can pack your things and be out in 2 hours. With that, I turned around, walked out the door, and threw the bouquet of roses into the hallway trash chute. She wanted dozens of roses? She didn't deserve a single one. Chloe called me repeatedly, but I ignored her. I just called a few of my buddies and told them to meet me at a bar. They didn't know the full story. I rarely complain about Jess, so they all try to talk me down. No, this is it. I told them firmly. It's really over. You guys know me. By all accounts, I was doing well. A salary of $95,000 a year wasn't rich, but it was better than most of our friends from college. And yet, for years, it was my friends who were always spotting me cash. When they heard Jess wanted a $50,000 fund. They had pooled together 20 grand as an early wedding gift to help me out. Meanwhile, Jess kept a tight grip on my finances. Forget buying a round of drinks for my friends. She barely wanted me leaving the house. Thinking about all my foolish sacrifices over the years made me want to slap myself. A few whiskeys in, my phone, which I placed face down on the table, started vibrating nonstop. Since I wasn't answering her calls, Jess was now bombarding me with texts. I ignored them and put my phone on silent. Then, she showed up at the bar. The moment she saw me, she started screaming. "It's always you guys, hanging out with these deadbeat friends of yours. No wonder he's such a loser. You son of a bitch," she shrieked, pointing at me. "So this is why you're ignoring my calls. They put you up to this, didn't they? You want to break up with me? Fine. After all the years you wasted in my life. What about damages? What about my pain and suffering? You're a grown man, and you're still making peanuts, and you have a nerve to be out drinking? Any woman who ends up with one of you is cursed." The mood at our table turned sour. It was after 10 p.m., peak time for the bar, and her shouting had drawn the attention of everyone on the patio. Someone from another table whistled. "Whoa, listen to her. You talk a big game, sweetheart. So what are you pulling in? You driving a Rolls or a Porsche?" Another guy chimed in. "That's a short skirt. You go for $200 an hour? You're a little old, but maybe you can give us a group discount. We'll make it worth your while." Jess was only brave when she was yelling at me. The moment strangers talked back, her face went pale with fear, and she ducked behind Chloe. But Chloe wasn't sticking around. She saw the guys from the other table getting up and bolted, leaving Jess standing there alone. Jess froze, then shot a desperate, teary-eyed look at me. "Ethan, are you just going to stand there? They're humiliating your fiancée, and you're doing nothing. Are you even a man?" I felt nothing. I took a bite of my burger, washed it down with a sip of whiskey, and finally looked up at her. She was trembling. Seeing my gaze on her, she bit her lip, and tears started rolling down her cheeks. It was always the same routine. When she wanted money, it was honey. When she didn't, it was Ethan, broke-ass loser. Are you even a man? The first time I saw that look, my heart ached. Now all I could see was the calculated performance, and it was pathetic. "They were insulting you, not my fiancé," I said calmly. "We're broken up, Jess. And you brought this on yourself with that mouth of yours. Besides, if you and Chloe, two professional freeloaders, have the right to exist, why can't we guys making six figures have a beer? Your 2 hours are up. I wasn't going to be this harsh, but since you're so high and mighty, you can return everything I ever bought you. Give me the keys to the condo and the car. You can go now." Jess had been with me for years. If she had just left quietly, I would have let her keep everything I'd given her. It's not like I had any use for designer bags. But if she was going to treat me like a fool, then she wasn't getting a single thing. She had a youth to waste, and I didn't. After graduation, my parents suggested I get married first and focus on my career later. It was Jess who kept putting it off. She said she'd worked too hard to get through college just to become a housewife. She wanted to build a career first. To support her, I took the pressure from my family, telling them it was my decision. Now here we were, in our 30s, and she seemed to have forgotten all her grand ambitions. Her days were spent scrolling through new arrivals at designer stores, figuring out where to get her hair and nails done, and inventing new reasons to squeeze more money out of me. She used the supplementary credit card I gave her to pay for her friends' things and have them Venmo her the cash. I wasn't stupid. I knew what she was doing. I just told myself that a man should spoil his wife. As long as she was happy, it was just a little money. Looking back, I was a complete idiot. I saw her as my wife. She saw me as an ATM. Of course, she refused. But at this point, her opinion didn't matter. I had one of my friend's wives step in, grab her purse, and start emptying it on the table. "This bag, this makeup, I paid for all of it. You make $3 grand a month, but a single dinner out with Chloe costs $1,200. You showed up in my life with nothing but the clothes on your back." "Here," I said, tossing a pack of tissues from her bag onto the pile of her belongings. "You can keep this. Now take it and your pathetic vanity and get out of my life." When I got home, the apartment was a wreck. I figured Jess and Chloe had thrown a tantrum after I left. It was a classic move. Chloe had taught her that to train a man, you had to show him who's boss. So every time we argued, Jess would smash a few plates or bowls. After I replaced everything with durable wooden dishes, she started tearing up the bed sheets. I should have replaced her instead of the dishes. I went to my room and had the best night's sleep I'd had in weeks. The next morning, I was woken by a loud knocking at the door. It was Jess and Chloe, with two police officers. They were accusing me of sexual assault. You left me there alone last night. Jess screamed. Do you have any idea what happened? The bar owner made me stay and wash dishes all night to pay for the damages. I already paid our tab. Why would he make you wash dishes? You know exactly why, I retorted. It's your fault. If you hadn't made me so angry, I wouldn't have flipped the table. You owe me for that. And you stole my purse. I almost laughed. I calmly explained the situation to the officers, but Jess stuck to her story. She claimed that while we were living together, we had an agreement not to be intimate, and that even in a long-term relationship, a person's consent is legally protected. With Chloe there to back her up with a fake testimony, the officers started looking at me with suspicion. Just then, a soft, clear voice came from the doorway. I could be a witness. I turned to see my next-door neighbor, Audrey Hayes. Audrey was beautiful. She was tall, maybe 5'8", with long, toned legs. Even in her running clothes, just back from a morning jog, she had a striking presence. She gave me a slight nod, then addressed the officers. Officers, I've lived here for over a year. Because I'm single, every time I ran into Ms. Evans, she would make a point to brag about her and Ethan's active sex life. It certainly didn't sound like something she was being forced into. They've been together for a very long time. It would be easy to verify if they had the kind of arrangement she's describing by talking to neighbors at their old apartment. False accusations like this are incredibly damaging. They hurt real victims who actually need help. The color drained from Jess's face. She tried to lunge at Audrey, but one of the officers held her back. All she could do was scream, "You little bitch, don't you listen to her lies. You're just jealous because you're a dried-up spinster and can't stand to see anyone else happy. Who are you trying to seduce, dressing like that all the time? You goddamn snake, you think you're so special? I knew you had your eyes on Ethan. Why don't you take a good look in the mirror? You slut. Who knows if you're really single? For all we know, you're turning tricks out of your apartment." The situation was already tense, but Jess's vile insults made it worse. The officers, who had initially been sympathetic to her, now looked disgusted. The female officer spoke sharply. "Ma'am, please calm down and watch your language." "How can I be calm? My fiancé is cheating on me with this whore. I bet this whole breakup was planned. You two have been hooking up for a while, haven't you? Ethan, say something. No wonder you wouldn't let me take my things. You were planning on giving them to this little tramp, weren't you? Well, she can have your sloppy seconds." Slap. Jess clutched her cheek, staring at me in disbelief. "You hit me. Ethan, you hit me for this bitch?" We weren't kids anymore. We'd known each other for over a decade, since college. I couldn't understand how Jess had turned into this. This shrew, attacking everyone in her path. I'd barely ever spoken to Audrey. The only time we'd interacted was when I helped her change a burnout light bulb. Jess had thrown a massive fit about it, scratching my face until it bled. Was she really this jealous of a beautiful woman, or was this who she'd been all along, and the shy, sweet girl was just an act? I didn't want to know the answer. Ignoring her histrionics, I turned to the officers. "I have a security camera in my living room. Furthermore, I've been working overtime at the office for weeks. I came home yesterday to discover her plotting to extort me for my personal assets, which is why I ended the relationship. We haven't been intimate in over a month. Even before that, it was rare. I was always too exhausted from work, and I had no interest." Jess had cried and thrown tantrums about it, but when I ignored her, she eventually dropped it. "I'm willing to be investigated, and afterward, I will be pressing charges against this woman for filing a false police report and defamation. Also, all financial transfers and gifts I gave her were under the premise of marriage. She has no right to any of it and must return everything. I've already calculated the total. Aside from the physical items, which are at my apartment, she owes me $43,800 in cash transfers. She can keep the change as compensation for the slap." Chloe, who had been sitting silently on the couch, suddenly spoke up. "A security camera? Why do you have a camera in your apartment?" "You know what, officer, let's just drop it," she said quickly, forcing a laugh. "This is just a domestic dispute. They had a little fight that didn't really mean it. Don't worry about it. They'll kiss and make up. Ethan, don't be so harsh. Just know she was wrong. She'll apologize, right? You two are about to get married. Don't let a small argument ruin everything." One of the officers raised an eyebrow. "So you're saying you filed a false police report?" Chloe went silent again, nudging Jess to snap out of it and apologize. But I had put Jess on a pedestal for so long that she had completely lost touch with reality. In front of everyone, she collapsed onto the floor in a heap. "I'm not apologizing. Why should I be the one to apologize?" she wailed. "The wedding is next month, and he suddenly calls it off. He should be the one compensating me. Why should I have to pay him back?" "Ethan, I'm telling you right now, unless you get on your knees and beg for my forgiveness, this wedding is back on. Otherwise, you can rot in jail. I will destroy you. You did assault me. In my book, there's no such thing as a breakup, only widowhood." It was almost funny. Even now, she refused to admit she was wrong, still clinging to the fantasy that I would marry her. When I didn't respond, her crying intensified. It was Chloe's cue to step in and play her part. She took a step forward and started her guilt trip. "Ethan, don't you see Jess is crying? Be the bigger man, just let it go. What's the big deal about saying you're sorry? You've been together for 10 years, since college. If you had problems, you should have broken up ages ago. Don't tell me you really did cheat on her with this home wrecker." I said nothing. I just pulled out my phone and started searching through the security camera footage. Chloe's reaction was too suspicious. Something more than just yesterday's conversation must have happened. I had originally installed the Nest Cam to keep an eye on my cat. Lucky. After he passed away from an illness, I never bothered to take it down. It had been so long that Jess must have forgotten it was there. As the audio from the video started playing from my phone, Jess's wailing stopped abruptly. She scrambled to her feet and tried to snatch the phone from my hand, but Audrey blocked her path. This time, Audrey didn't hold back. She slapped Jess hard across the face. "Ethan helped me once, so I tolerated your disgusting insults," she said, her voice cold and steady. "But now you're trying to destroy evidence. Have you no shame? No wonder you were so desperate to spread rumors about us. You were trying to cover up your own guilty conscience." The sounds coming from my phone were a mixture of pleasure and pain, the voices of Chloe and Jess. The day before I came home, the two of them, completely drunk, had brought two men back to the apartment. From their conversation, it was clear the men were dancers they'd picked up at a club, tipping them heavily to come home with them. Jess had the decency to take her guy into the bedroom. My bedroom. My bed. Chloe was even more shameless. She started going at it with her guy right there in the entryway. The female officer who watched the video instinctively took a step away from the shoe rack they had been leaning against. In the end, at the police station, after a full accounting in front of everyone, it was determined that Jess owed me a total of $103,000. That included the cost of replacing all the furniture and compensation for my cat. Lucky had been a stray, but he had health problems that I'd spent a fortune on surgeries and vet visits. I considered that his value, and they would pay for it. As I scrolled further back in the footage, I found the truth about Lucky's death. Chloe had a habit of abusing animals, and my wonderful ex-fiancée, knowing how much I adored that cat, stood by and laughed while she tormented him. No wonder Lucky had become so listless. That bitch Jess had lied to me, telling me he was just getting old, that the 4 drips at the vet were making him weak. Now, finally, her tears were real. "I don't have the money. Where am I going to get that kind of money?" she sobbed. "You know my family. If I ask them for money, they'll kill me. Right?" Now she remembered her dysfunctional family. Before she met me, she survived on 20-cent rice and 50-cent bean sprouts from the college cafeteria. Now she was the one calling people broke-ass losers, acting like some trust fund princess. The reality was, Jess came from a poor rural town and was expected to send money home every year. Her parents had visited a few times, and I was always the one who ran interference for her. Back then, Jess really did stretch every penny. She would skip buying popcorn at the movies and wore the same 2 outfits on rotation, using a hairdryer to dry them on rainy days. Ever since she met Chloe, it was like a switch had been flipped inside her. Everything changed. I was unmoved. I stuck to my position. Either she paid me back, or she could do a few years in prison for fraud. "You still have Chloe, don't you?" I said. $100 grand is pocket change for her family. And after all the money you've spent on her. A flicker of hope appeared in Jess's eyes. She scrambled over to Chloe. Forgetting all sense of pride, she grabbed her arm. Chloe, you have to help me, she pleaded. Can you lend me the money? I'll pay you back. I swear. Chloe's expression soured. She violently shook Jess's arm off. Are you insane? Where am I supposed to get $100,000 for you? And how would you ever pay it back? You make $3,000 a month. You can't even support yourself. But you said your parents are overseas, and they give you $10,000 a month for an allowance. So what if they do? I spend it. It's my money. Why are you always eyeing other people's money? That's not what I meant. Chloe, all those times we went out, shopping, dinner, I always paid for everything. Don't you trust me? Maybe you could ask your parents to lend me some. No. I said it once, I don't have the money. Jess was stunned. Pushed to the ground, she stared at Chloe in disbelief. After a moment, her tone turned desperate again. Then could you just lend me $10,000? We spent $3,000 at the club that night alone. Just think of it as me finally getting my share of all the times I paid for us. Why should I? You paid for things because you wanted to. If you'd said we were splitting it, I never would have gone. Don't think I don't know what you were doing. You were trying to suck up to my family. Now that your plan failed, you show your true colors. I must have been blind. We're not friends anymore. At the mention of money, Chloe turned and ran, leaving Jess alone at the police station, seething with rage. A classic case of dogs turning on each other. The police called Jess's family. The second they heard it was about money, they hung up. Tears streamed down Jess's face again. She had cried almost constantly for the past few days, but never like this. She gasped for air, choked sobs racking her body, looking like she was about to pass out. An officer tried to help her up, but she pushed him away. She fell to her knees, her head thrown back, words tumbling out between sobs. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never knew she was that kind of person. Ethan, you're all I have. Please don't leave me. She was broken. Her hair was a mess, her eyes red and swollen. She looked like a stray dog that had been kicked one too many times. And in a way, she never really had a home. I tried to give her one, but she threw it away. I felt no sympathy. Leaving the station, I saw Audrey again. She was holding a vase of flowers, looking like she was about to knock on my door. When she saw me, she smiled awkwardly. I wanted to return this to you, she said. I saw you throw it away the other day. It seemed like such a waste. Whatever happened, it's not the flower's fault. My gaze fell to the vase. She had taken the bouquet I discarded, trimmed the wilting petals, and beautifully arranged the roses with some eucalyptus. She had clearly put thought into it. You can keep them, I said. And thank you for testifying for me today. Audrey's face flushed a deep red, and she hugged the vase tighter. Seeing the pink tips of her ears, a thought crossed my mind. Could it be that she was actually interested in me? No, really. Testifying was just returning the favor. You helped me with that light bulb before. Oh, whatever. Just take the flowers. I have to go. Before I could react, she shoved the vase into my arms, scurried back to her apartment, and shut the door. The slam was so loud from her haste that she immediately opened it again, whispered sorry, and closed it gently. How had I never noticed how charmingly awkward she was? I couldn't help but smile as I set the vase down inside my apartment. When my friends came over to help me move some of Jess's remaining things out, they saw the flowers and started teasing me. What's this? Decided to go after your gorgeous neighbor. Hey, you're right next door. The opportunity is golden. I say go for it. I just shook my head. These past few days had given me a lot of clarity. Life without Jess was peaceful. For the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely happy. No one was waking me up in the middle of the night asking for water. No one was picking fights after having a bad dream. I could finally sleep through the night. I didn't have to spend my salary on her whims. I could actually buy things for myself. Even the decor of this condo had been chosen based on her tastes. Now that I was free, I just wanted to live for myself. I sold all the furniture, the car, and had a company print out the screenshots of Chloe abusing my cat. I paid someone to plaster them all over the building where she worked. They'd put them up at night, so her coworkers would see them arriving in the morning and leaving in the evening. Then they'd take them down and put up new ones the next night, different pictures each time. I wasn't worried about privacy. The photos were taken in my home. It didn't take long for Chloe to crack. She had the police contact me, saying she wanted to pay the money she owed. When I arrived, she and Jess were in the middle of a screaming match. Jess was crying. It's $100,000, not $100 you wanted to take out a loan. How am I supposed to pay it back? And you think if you borrowed it from me, you wouldn't have to pay it back? Jess, you're unbelievable. Chloe shot back. When their interests no longer aligned, the best friends became bitter enemies. All the names they used to call me, they were now using on each other. I don't have any collateral. Even if I wanted to, no bank would give me a loan that big. Get as much as you can. I'll lend you the rest. But you have to write me a formal IOU, right here, in front of everyone. And as soon as you get married, you'll pay me back with the wedding gifts and any money you get from your new husband. What are you waiting for? I'm not even charging you interest. You should be thanking me. Chloe was truly something else. She thought I was a pushover and tried to take advantage. Now that she realized I wasn't, she was pressuring Jess to pay me back, making sure she wouldn't lose a dime in the process. It didn't matter to me. I wasn't marrying Jess. Whether she could secure another fiancé or whether she could ever pay Chloe back was no longer my problem. All I wanted was what was mine. As Jess transferred the money to my account, she put on that pitiful look again. Ethan, I never realized until now how much you did for me. I haven't been able to sleep these past few days. I regret everything. Can we please not break up? The invitations are sent. It's going to be so hard to explain to all our friends and family. I had no interest in her new script. I cut her off. You'll have a hard time explaining. As for the reason the wedding is off, I've already edited together a little video and posted it on my Facebook. My parents have seen it too. Don't worry. You just handle your side of the family. But be warned, if a single one of them shows up at my door to cause trouble, I'll rent out the Jumbotron in Times Square and play that video on a loop. A nice guy is just a nice guy. He's not a doormat. After that, Jess kept texting me from different numbers trying to reminisce about the good times. It was so annoying, I ended up blocking all unknown numbers. It wasn't until I was out for drinks with my friends that one of them brought up Audrey again. Hey, so that beautiful neighbor of yours managed to get my number from someone. She was asking for your new address. And get this, she was a classmate of ours in high school. Audrey Hayes, do you remember her? Talk about a glow-up. Can you believe she was the girl they used to call Snow White? The nickname jogged my memory. There was a girl in high school who developed early. The school uniform looked different on her, more womanly. And every day, a luxury car would pick her up. Rumors started spreading that she was working as an escort at a karaoke club, that her stage name was Snow White. I overheard a guy once, vividly describing how he'd booked her for $600, going on and on about how great she was. It sounded so real, but I couldn't stand it, so I called him out on his lie. Because that very weekend, at the exact time he claimed to be with her, I had seen her at the public library. Back then, you could sit in a corner and read the new books for free, and a lot of us who couldn't afford to buy them would hang out there. I was one of them. I was reading a novel when I faintly heard someone crying. I looked over and saw a girl try to hide her tears. When she noticed me looking, she quickly wiped her eyes and mumbled something about the book being sad. But she was holding the book upside down. Maybe she was just overwhelmed by the rumors and needed to let it out. Later that day, I was walking downstairs behind her and heard her driver hold the door open, respectfully calling her Miss Hayes. I was 17. A bit of a hero complex, I guess. I got into a fight with the guy who spread the rumor. Soon after, I heard that Snow White had transferred schools, and I got a reputation for being a guy you didn't mess with. For me, it was just a small incident. I never even knew her name, and my memory of her face was blurry. All I remembered was a very pretty girl with pale skin. So, Audrey said I had helped her. Was that what she meant? My mind was reeling. If her family is that rich, why was she living in my old apartment building? I asked. I might not remember her face, but I remembered the cars. Any one of them was worth more than a few condos in that building. Why would someone that wealthy choose to live in a regular neighborhood? My friend grinned. Think about it, man. Why do you think she went to all that trouble to find you? You moved and didn't even tell her? You dog. I couldn't wrap my head around it. On my way home to my new place, I actually ran into Audrey. She was dressed differently today in a simple blouse and jeans, her dark, curly hair pulled up in a high ponytail. She looked a little cold, hugging her arms. Her face lit up when she saw me. Ethan, you're back. What a coincidence. My parents said my old building wasn't very safe, and they want me to move. Do you live here? Could you tell me about the neighborhood? I didn't answer right away. Her excited expression faltered, replaced by anxiety. She started nervously twisting her hands together. Am I bothering you? If you're busy, it's okay. She bit her lower lip, her bright eyes shimmering. Honestly, Audrey was far more beautiful than Jess. It wasn't just her delicate features. She carried herself with an elegance that only comes from a privileged upbringing. No wonder Jess had felt so threatened by her. What reason did I have to say no? No, it's not that. The unit across the hall from me is actually vacant. It's being renovated. If you're interested, I can ask the landlord for you. Audrey's eyes lit up again, a visible wave of relief washing over her. She had the looks of a confident, sophisticated woman, but her personality was more like a timid rabbit. The only time I'd seen her assertive was when she was defending me. I decided to tease her a little. What a coincidence. Looks like we're going to be neighbors again. Audrey stopped walking. I turned to look at her. Her lovely eyebrows were furrowed in concentration, as if she'd made a momentous decision. It's not a coincidence, she said, her voice trembling slightly. It's me. I've been following you. Ethan, I'm in love with you. From the moment I tracked down your friend's number, I decided I was going to tell you. I was going to tell everyone. I love you. As she spoke, a single tear escaped and traced a path down her cheek. She quickly wiped it away, but it was as if a dam had broken. More tears followed, one after another, until she finally turned her back to me, trying to hide them. She was beautiful even when she cried, but I was completely stunned by this turn of events. A confession is a confession, but why was she crying? I wanted to tell you in college, she said between sobs, but I was too scared. And then Jess confessed to you, and she used the love letter I wrote. I was such a coward back then. But I'm telling you now, I love you, and I'm not going to miss my chance again. When news got out that Audrey and I were together, our friends and families were nothing but supportive. Dude, I couldn't say this when you were with Jess, but that woman was a piece of work. My wife works at the bank, and she said Jess had a ton of credit card debt even back then. One friend told me, yeah, she knew you had a thing for the simple, down-to-earth type, so she played the part, said another. Good riddance. She didn't know what she had with a guy like you. She'll regret it one day. I had no idea about the debt. It seemed that even after spending hundreds of thousands of my dollars on her, I still couldn't satisfy her insatiable appetite for more. She had been secretly racking up credit card charges behind my back. She'd promised me in college that after I paid off her debts, she would never open another card. It just proved it was all a long con. Thank God I got out when I did. I sold all the gifts I had ever given her to a consignment shop and threw out the rest. I managed to recoup a decent amount of money. Combined with my savings, after buying a new place, I had a comfortable nest egg. I decided to buy Audrey a ring. She just blushed and shook her head. You don't have to buy me a ring. Actually, I designed a matching set for us a long time ago. Audrey explained that while she was launching her own business, her real passion was jewelry design. The handmade ring Jess had given me in college, she had stolen it from Audrey. They had been roommates. Audrey knew Jess had taken the ring, but since it ended up with me, she let it go. Instead, she quietly designed another pair. This time, she would be the one to put it on my finger. I looked at the perfectly sized ring on my hand and chuckled. Usually, it's the woman's ring that has the diamond. Why is mine so flashy? It's different, she said earnestly. In my eyes, you're the one who shines. She looked so serious, but she was full of sweet lines. Once she started talking, she couldn't stop, telling me everything about college. Her family had wanted her to study abroad, but she refused, so they cut her off financially. She had to work multiple jobs to get through school, which left her exhausted. By the time she realized her love letter had been stolen, it was too late. After that, the scarf she knitted and the card she drew would mysteriously disappear, only to show up on me a few days later. She was sad and happy at the same time, so she just kept quietly making things for me. Her voice grew thick with emotion. Why don't you wear any of those things anymore? Did you not like them? Were they too cheap for you? I thought they were from Jess. I admitted I threw them all away. And if you had told me sooner, I never would have fallen for a thief. So, my entire 10-year relationship was a custom-tailored scam. Audrey knew all my preferences, and Jess had used that to her advantage. Hearing my answer, Audrey's tears turned to laughter. It's okay. I have money now. I can get you much better things. Silly girl. I'm supposed to be the one buying you gifts. No way. A relationship is a two-way street. If you don't accept my gifts, I'm not accepting yours, she pouted, though she kept sneaking glances at me, ready to back down if I got angry. Her looks, her family, everything about her was leagues above Jess. Yet with me, she was always so humble. I reached out and stroked her hair. Okay, I'll accept. So what do you want to give me? Audrey's smile returned, a sly twinkle in her beautiful cat-like eyes. I'm giving you a wife. $9 for the marriage license. My treat. And just like that, we were officially married. Getting the license was easy, but the wedding was another story. Seeing how stressed I was, Audrey suggested we just go ahead with the original wedding date, but replace everything: the dress, the venue, the guest list. Her parents were ecstatic and immediately gave us their wedding gift, 2 debit cards, each with $1 million on them. Unbelievably generous. When I met them, they weren't the intimidating figures I had imagined. They were thrilled. Thank goodness for you, Ethan. You and my daughter are a perfect match. I found out later that Audrey, fearing her parents would give me a hard time, had told them she was gay. Given that she had refused to date or go on blind dates for years, they actually believed her. So when they heard she was marrying a man, they were overjoyed. The dreaded meeting the in-laws challenge was passed with flying colors. I was in a daze. Honey, you must really love me, I said, still trying to process it all. Well, what can I do? You're a great guy. When I was with Jess, no matter how much I gave her, it was never enough. She was always comparing me to other men. Even watching a TV show could turn into a lecture about how other boyfriends were better. But here was Audrey, telling me she loved me because she thought I was great. The next second, her eyes went wide. Ethan, it's the middle of the day. You're still calling me Ethan? Hubby, honey. The next time I saw Jess was at the mall. I was shopping with Audrey when we heard someone crying. We walked over to a shoe store and saw a sales associate being berated by her manager. I hired you to work, not to be a princess. If you want to eat, you have to be willing to get your hands dirty. If you can't handle it, get out. The manager yelled, spittle flying. If it wasn't for Chloe, I never would have given you this job. Do it or don't, I don't care. The world doesn't owe you anything. Audrey tensed up beside me, the one being yelled at. Is that Jess? She whispered. Oh, guess she hasn't resorted to collecting cans yet. Audrey shot me a playful glare, but I could see her relax. I knew she was worried. I still had feelings for Jess after all those years, but she really didn't have to be. Once I make a decision, I don't look back. And considering everything that happened, the fact that I didn't sue Jess for fraud was a testament to my generosity. Jess or Audrey, even an idiot would know who to choose. I put my arm around Audrey and started to lead her away, but a desperate cry stopped us. Ethan, Ethan, don't go. Jess came running towards us. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Chloe tricked me. The high-paying job she told me about was this: kneeling to help customers try on shoes. I was a fool to listen to her. I'll do whatever you say from now on. I'll never talk to her again. Please, just give me another chance. The money. We can go back to what we originally agreed on, $50,000. I won't ask for more. We can pretend none of this ever happened. Ethan, you're a sentimental person. You can't have moved on this fast, right? Audrey was furious. The normally gentle woman showed her claws. Still talking about $50,000? I wouldn't even dream of asking my husband for that much, she scoffed. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we're already married. He gave my family $25,000 as a gesture, and my family gave us 2 houses and a car as a wedding gift. You're too late. Jess froze, but she stubbornly refused to look at Audrey, her eyes fixed on me. The past few months had not been kind to her. Her face, which she had once meticulously cared for, looked sallow and older. The contrast with the radiant, beautiful Audrey was stark. I looked at her coldly and pulled Audrey closer. Didn't you hear my wife? We're married. Not only that, I know about all your dirty little secrets from college. Stealing other people's things to give to your boyfriend. Jess, you're not just broke, you're morally bankrupt. The old Jess would have started screaming by now, but she had been worn down by hardship. Shamelessly, she threw herself at my feet and grabbed my leg. Don't go. Please don't go, Ethan. If you're angry at me for deceiving you, you can hit me, you can yell at me. Just don't leave me. What if I kill Chloe? Would that make it better? I'll kill her, and we could go back to how things were. You're married now. I could be your mistress. I don't need a title. I'll do your laundry, cook your meals. I'll even be Audrey's nanny when she has kids, just to atone for my sins. Jess had completely abandoned her dignity. A crowd was gathering, many of them recording on their phones, but she didn't care, spouting her shameless propositions. Finally, security guard arrived and dragged her away. The manager's voice echoed after her. Have you no shame? A mistress. Look at yourself. His wife is 10 times the woman you'll ever be. Hey, Chloe, what kind of psycho did you send me? Are you trying to mess with me? Don't call me again. Anyone who's friends with someone like that can't be a good person. Not long after, we saw the aftermath online. The manager had called Chloe to the store and demanded she pay for the damages to the store's reputation. Chloe immediately started screaming at Jess, and the two of them got into a massive fistfight right there in the mall. The video went viral. Naturally, the posters I had put up near their old office resurfaced. The pictures of Chloe abusing the cat while Jess stood by and laughed. Internet sleuths dug up everything on both of them. Chloe was exposed completely. She wasn't a rich heiress at all. She came from a small town, slightly better off than Jess's family. But that was it. She had the same last name as a female executive at her company and had been pretending the executive was her cousin. It all made sense. No wonder she always made Jess pay for everything. She was hoarding her own money while spending Jess's, and then planned to lend it back to her at a premium. What a brilliant scheme. Jess truly had terrible judgment. She went after me out of jealousy of Audrey, but she had no ability to think for herself, treating a con artist like Chloe as her guru. She had brought all of this upon herself. When Audrey and I were planning our honeymoon, she suggested we revisit our old college campus. Silly girl, this is our honeymoon. This is your chance to get me to spend some serious money. What about the Maldives? We could relax on the beach. Audrey shook her head, her lips pursed in a pout. You're the silly one. We can go to the Maldives anytime. A honeymoon should be meaningful. She took me back to campus, and our first stop was her old dorm. She stood outside, looking up at the window, her eyes glistening with tears. That day you were doing room checks. I was at my part-time job. Jess said she would cover for me. She went outside to wash her clothes as a distraction so I could sneak back in. When I saw it was you, I wanted to say hello, but I was afraid of getting in trouble. I hid in my room, and then later, you didn't even glance my way. You didn't remember me at all. I was so happy and so sad at the same time. Happy because my whole life, I've had to deal with people staring at me, but you treated me like I was just a normal person. Even when you stood up for me, it was just out of a sense of justice. But I was sad because you didn't remember me, and I didn't know how to talk to you. You have no idea how much I hoped you would say hi to me first back then. We walked through the academic buildings, the library, the cafeteria, all the places where, unbeknownst to me, Audrey had been quietly watching me. Our last stop was the spot where Jess had confessed to me. Standing there, Audrey looked especially sad. She used my love letter, she said softly, and you told her she was a great writer. Damn it, Jess. So that's what it was. I thought I'd found a girl who, though not conventionally stunning, had a beautiful soul. And it turned out that soul was stolen, too. I pulled Audrey into my arms and held her tight. You see, in every way, it was always you. I fell in love with you back then, too. I was just tricked by her. Audrey finally smiled. She playfully pushed me away and pulled out a beautifully decorated box from her bag. Inside was a thick stack of letters. She stuck out her tongue playfully. It's okay. She stole one, so I just wrote more. From now on, you better remember, I'm smart and I'm strong. If you so much as look at another woman, I will get very, very angry. But then again, she added, a thoughtful look on her face, I am this beautiful, and you didn't even give me a second glance when you were with Jess. Your moral character passes the test. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Looking at the box of love letters, a wave of warmth washed over me. As we were leaving campus, we overheard a group of female students laughing. Did you hear? There's this girl from our school who's a total disgrace. She offered to be some guy's mistress, and he turned her down. What was her name? Jess Evans. Yeah, that's her. I saw the videos. That girl has no shame. She started live streaming now. Live streaming what? Thirst traps. Nope, she's found a niche. She just kneels and begs for forgiveness on camera. What? I heard she owes a ton of money. I guess that's one way to make it, but that's just pathetic. Audrey and I exchanged a look of exasperation. One of the students had already pulled up Jess's TikTok live. Her voice, tinny and distorted, came from the phone speaker. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Ethan, I miss you so much. I love you so much. I lost my way, but you blocked me everywhere. This is the only way I can reach you. You can see this, right? You're my live stream. I know you are. Ethan, please say something. I'm begging you. I won't compete with Audrey. I'll never compete with her again. Audrey, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. We can be sisters. We were best friends in college, remember? Don't you miss those days? She wasn't sorry. She just wanted us to forgive her so she could go back to her comfortable, easy life. But we weren't fools. Jess was a grown woman. It was time for her to pay for her choices. Chloe's method was simpler and far more insidious. She started showing up outside my new office building, holding a sign. Whenever someone walked by, she would burst into tears, playing the victim. When people asked what was wrong, she would say pitifully, "I'm here to apologize to Mr. Miller. I hurt his cat, and I'm willing to give my life to make it right. I just want him to forgive me and take the videos down. I was wrong. I was under a lot of pressure, and I shouldn't have taken it out on an innocent animal. I've learned my lesson. I'll do whatever he wants. Just please, don't let the videos spread any further. It's hurting my family, and they're innocent." Suddenly, the narrative shifted and the pressure was on me. My coworkers started sending me messages. Some told me to be merciful. Others said she deserved it, and I should let her kneel there for a few more days. Even my boss sent me a text saying her presence was disrupting the office, and I needed to resolve it quickly. The internet is a fickle place. Chloe posted videos of her apology every day, and she started gaining supporters. People argued that a human life was more important than a cat's, that she was brave for facing up to her mistakes. But I wasn't going to let her win. I unblocked Jess's number and forwarded her Chloe's videos. Sometimes you have to let the dogs fight it out themselves. Audrey howled with laughter. "You're a genius," she said. But her laughter died down a moment later as her phone started blowing up. Jess, seeing that I had unblocked her, was sending a flood of messages. "Honey, you forgive me, don't you? Don't worry, I'll destroy this bitch. I'll show you how sincere I am. If you're willing to forgive me, the three of us can be together. I'll take good care of my big sister, Audrey. Wait for me. Wait for my good news." Audrey stared at her phone, then shot me an exasperated look and playfully tugged my hair. "Why did you have to be so charming? It's a curse. Now we're never going to be rid of her. If a beautiful woman like me has been obsessed with you for a decade, a psycho like Jess will be latched on for life. You know what? You should quit your job and come with me to the Denver office. I need to go out there to expand the market, and I have to bring my handsome husband with me to keep him safe." Her sudden shift in tone made me laugh. I hesitated for a moment. I never liked my job with its endless overtime, but with Jess's spending habits and a mortgage, I never had a choice. "If I follow you, won't that make me a kept man?" "Of course not. Why do you think my parents like you so much? Aside from my little schemes, it's because they already knew who you were. That's when I learned that my company was a subsidiary of her family's corporation. It was a little side project they had given her younger sister to run. The connection was kept quiet, but all major promotions had to be approved by the family. So they all knew me. Every time my name came up for promotion, my manager would sigh. She said the higher-ups had always been impressed with my skills, and I should have been promoted years ago. But in the corporate world, a stable home life matters. And my fiancée, as they put it, was high maintenance and unstable. It was a huge red flag. The corporation had dealt with a similar situation once before, where an executive's wife, feeling neglected, had sabotaged his projects and leaked confidential information to a competitor. It was a huge mess, and ever since, the company had been wary of employees with tumultuous personal lives. Jess already had a record. Once, when I hadn't immediately transferred her money for a new handbag, she had stormed into the middle of a board meeting and caused a massive scene, effectively killing any chance I had of moving up. Now, Audrey was not only my wife, but also my boss. With her full support, there were no more obstacles to my career. "Big promotion. Happy?" she asked, beaming. "Let me reintroduce myself. I'm a new vice president of the Denver branch. We moved to Denver and bought a house, then bought the one across the street from my parents. The scenery was beautiful, the air was clean, and my parents seemed happier and more energetic than they had in years. My mom, a natural charmer, showered Audrey with so much praise that she was constantly blushing. When Audrey and I were busy with work, my parents would cook and clean for us. On weekends, we would explore the surrounding areas, taking them on road trips and trying new restaurants. Audrey's parents were always busy, so she spent most of her free time with my mom. They would go shopping together and come back loaded with jewelry, looking like they'd won the lottery. When I gave him a questioning look, my mom would glare at me. "What are you looking at? A mother-in-law spoils her daughter-in-law, and a daughter-in-law respects her mother-in-law. If you two ever get divorced, you're the one getting kicked out with nothing. I'm sticking with my daughter." Later that night, she pulled me aside. "It's not that I don't love you, son. It's just that you have to keep your wife happy. You're terrible with words. What if she leaves you?" And about the wedding, I realized that in the chaos with Jess and Chloe, we had completely forgotten about our own wedding ceremony. We decided to keep it simple, a dinner party for close friends and family, which we would live stream for everyone else on a new platform our company was launching. The wedding of the founder's daughter would be the perfect launch event. Audrey was breathtakingly beautiful that day. The stylist had convinced her to wear a stunning, old Hollywood-style crimson dress that made her look like a classic movie star. "A beauty like you should wear bold colors. You look like a 1980s starlet," the stylist had gushed. Audrey kept sneaking glances at me, her cheeks flushed. I just smiled. I knew her little secret. She thought I preferred the simple, innocent type, so she had been deliberately dressing down in tracksuits and button-down shirts. The truth was, I loved every side of her. Her confidence, her loyalty, her endearing habit of blushing, and the way she would grumble like a little cat when she didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. After the wedding, we checked the streaming platform's backend. Even though we had disabled donations, thousands of viewers had sent $1 virtual firework effects, totaling over $1 million in revenue. One user had sent 9,999 fireworks and left a comment. "I used to blame you for not buying me 999 roses. Now, I'm sending you 9,999 fireworks. I wish you both happiness. I just wish I could be a part of it." It was Jess again. Neither of us mentioned her name. We had more beautiful things to focus on. A few months later, Chloe's name was back in the headlines. Her body had been found. The killer, police determined, was Jess Evans. In the interrogation video, Jess was weeping uncontrollably. "I thought she was my best friend. I believed everything she said. Because of her, I lost the man I loved. But what did she do? Whenever we went out, I paid for everything. When I asked to borrow money from her, she told me to go work at a karaoke bar because she was afraid I wouldn't pay her back. She never considered me a friend. She was just using me. She knew how desperate I was to escape my family, and she went and told them where I was. They came and took all my money. She wanted to ruin my life, so why should I let her live? She deserved to die. She destroyed my life." By the end, Jess was slamming her fists on the table, her mental state clearly unstable. Her eyes were wide and wild, and she was laughing and crying at the same time, interrogating the police officers. "Tell me, didn't she deserve to die? Someone who so carelessly ruins another person's life, doesn't she deserve it? When she told me to demand more money, when she pushed my fiancé away, didn't she deserve it then? If it weren't for her, I'd be married by now. My husband loves me so much, he really does. Now it's all gone. I have nothing left. Chloe can't give me my life back, so she had to die." I quietly closed the video. Whether she ended up in a prison or a psychiatric hospital didn't matter to me. I had a new life and more important things to focus on. The bedroom door opened and Audrey walked in, her hands behind her back, her big, beautiful eyes sparkling. "Honey, I have a present for you," she chirped. I pulled her into my arms and kissed her cheek. Unlike Jess, Audrey had no interest in luxury brands or expensive perfumes, but she had a natural, sweet scent that I found incredibly relaxing. "You've already given me so many gifts. This one is different. I guarantee you've never received a gift like this before." With a mischievous grin, she brought her hands out from behind her back, holding a small gift box. She opened it to reveal a pregnancy test with 2 pink lines and an ultrasound report. "I'm pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. Aren't you happy, honey?" Twins. I was so overcome with emotion, I couldn't speak. I hugged her tighter and tighter, wanting to lift her up and spin her around. But I couldn't. She was pregnant. I quickly loosened my grip, afraid I might hurt her. I had always wanted kids. It was one of the reasons I had been so eager to marry Jess. The thought of coming home from a long, hard day at work to a sweet little baby calling me daddy made it all seem worthwhile. But Jess didn't want children. She had even, without telling me, terminated 2 pregnancies. When I confronted her, she had been dismissive. Do you care more about me or a baby? Is a woman just a birthing machine to you? She'd snapped. It's easy for you to say you want one. You're not the one who has to carry it. It's my body, and I'll decide what to do with it. After that, we stopped being intimate. Our relationship was already fading. Now, looking at this ultrasound, I felt tears welling up in my eyes. Audrey gently wiped them away. Honey, I've been thinking. We're in our 30s now, and we need to be careful. These are our babies, a product of our love, and I want to give them the healthiest possible start in life. I want to step back from the company to focus on the pregnancy. I want you to take over. I'll be a stay-at-home mom. You can support me, okay? I've never been supported by my husband before. Yes, of course, yes. I choked out, then captured her lips in a deep kiss. I love you, my wife. I love you too, my husband. With twins on the way, the entire family went in a high alert. We rented a luxury suite at a hotel near the hospital for her to stay in during her 3rd trimester. Her days were peaceful, reading, listening to music, chatting with my parents, and talking to the babies with me when I got home from work. No one could have predicted the chaos that would erupt at the hotel. For patients escaped from the psychiatric hospital where Jess was being held. Jess was one of them. They stormed the hotel and took Audrey hostage. Nobody move. Get us the money or the pregnant woman dies, one of them yelled. She's the daughter of the Hayes family, right? Her life has to be worth $60 million. It was worth more. It was worth everything. I raced to the scene, pushing past the police officers who tried to hold me back. I'll get it for you, $60 million. I've already called my people. I yelled. Don't try to stall. I'm not. I can write you a check right now. A check. You capitalists are all the same, always trying to trick us poor people. You want me to walk right into a trap, don't you? Audrey's eyes were red with fear. She shook her head at me, her lips moving, but no sound came out. She closed her eyes, as if resigning herself to her fate. Even the lead detective was trying to reason with me. Mr. Miller, you can't go in there. You'll just become another hostage. Then let me trade places with her. Can't you see my wife is hurt? It won't work, sir. Compared to you, a pregnant woman is a much less threatening hostage. They won't let her go. Suddenly, there were several loud bangs from inside the room. I looked up in shock to see Jess, her face covered in blood, holding a gun. The other 3 captors were on the ground. She was trembling, and I could see the red dots of sniper rifles trained on her forehead. Jess dropped the gun and raised her hands. I killed them, she said, her voice hollow. Does that count as making amends? I didn't want to kidnap her. I just wanted them to help me get out. I just wanted to see you one more time. They were going to hurt her. And I knew. If Audrey died, Ethan would never forgive me. Ethan, she pleaded. I saved her. Can you please just talk to me now? She started walking towards me, step by step, before collapsing. Only then did everyone see the dark stain of blood spreading across the back of her shirt. She had been shot, too, but she seemed not to feel it, using her hands to drag herself across the floor, crawling towards me. Just as her fingers were about to touch my pant leg, I took a step back. Jess, I thank you for what you did today, but there's no chance for us. I love Audrey. From the very beginning, we were a mistake. Did I ever love the real Jess? No. I loved her simplicity, her innocence, all the things she pretended to be. She never believed she was wrong. It was always someone else's fault, someone else's influence. But there are plenty of people like Chloe in the world. Did I not encounter them? Did Audrey not encounter them? She believed Chloe because Chloe's word aligned with her own selfish desires. She blamed everything on her best friend, then turned around and demanded things from me. My friend says everyone gets 100,000, so you have to give me 100,000. My friend says you don't treat me well enough. Why haven't you taken me to the Maldives? Or Hawaii? You have vacation days. Why are you always working? My friend says Louis Vuitton is basic. You should be buying me a Birkin bag. How can I go out without a designer purse? If she hadn't wanted those things, she wouldn't have said them. Looking back, all the details I had ignored became crystal clear. The greedy look in her eyes when she received a gift, her increasingly condescending attitude. Jess wanted a life of luxury, but her background and abilities couldn't get her there. So she needed a stepping stone, a kind, capable, and reasonably handsome man. That's why she stole Audrey's crush and pursued me. Now her dream was shattered, and she was cast back in her own world. Having tasted heaven, she couldn't handle reality. I would never forgive her, and neither would Audrey. The stress of the kidnapping sent Audrey into early labor. I paced anxiously outside the delivery room. I had read all the books. I knew the risks, especially for a woman of her age. The more I thought about it, the more terrified I became. The police came and asked me to see Jess. I didn't want to go, but they said she was dying. Her injuries were too severe. She wanted to see me one last time. She was pale, her eyes staring blankly at the ceiling, but there was a faint smile on her lips. When she saw me, a flicker of joy crossed her face. "Ethan," she whispered, each word an effort. "I had a dream. In my dream, I saw the day I confessed to you again. You smiled at me so gently, and I dreamed of our children. They said they were coming to get me. If I had just had the babies back then, would things have been different for us? I know you would have been a great father. You know, the two of them, they looked like little angels, so cute." I cut her off. "You made the decision to get rid of those children behind my back. They wouldn't even be the same age. If they had souls, they would have moved on long ago. They aren't waiting for you. I'll be a good father," I said, my voice hard. "But you, Jess, you would not have been a good mother. Could a selfish person magically transform into a loving mother just by giving birth?" My mind flashed to Audrey, to the gentle way she would look down and stroke her belly. That was the mother of my children. That was the woman I loved. "It's all in your head, Jess. You imagine they forgive you. You imagine we still have a chance. How long are you going to live in your fantasy world?" Jess flinched. After a moment, tears of regret streamed from her eyes. "But I can't forget you. Every time I close my eyes, I remember all those years. I remember you making me hot tea when I had cramps, driving me to see the sunrise, just because I wanted to. I love bags, I love designer things, and you never told me to be frugal. You always tried your best to give me what I wanted. You told me my hard days were over, that you would take care of me. If you hadn't been so good to me, maybe I wouldn't be so obsessed now." I just stared at her, my expression unchanged. "But that's not what you used to say, Jess. You used to say, 'You broke-ass loser, this is all you make? Why do you only make 6 figures? Why can't you try harder and make millions? A person like you will never be satisfied.'" Jess sobbed harder, her pale face streaked with tears. She reached out a hand, as if to touch my face, but it fell limply to her side. Jess Evans was dead. Without a second thought, I turned and walked away. My wife needed me. 3 years later, our twins are old enough to run, jump, and call me daddy. Every evening when I come home from work, my son, Leo, proudly presents me with his latest Lego creation. My daughter, Chloe, named in irony, hugs her doll and asks me to braid its hair. Audrey stands by in her apron, watching with a helpless smile. "Don't all climb on Daddy at once. He's tired. Let him rest. Honey, come sit down. Try the food I made. Is it getting as good as your mom's?" I stand up and peck her on the cheek. Watching her face turn a familiar shade of pink. "Stop it. The kids are watching," she whispers. "It's because the kids are watching that I have to ask. Is it time to think about a little brother or sister?" Outside the open bedroom door, Leo covers his little sister's eyes like a tiny adult. "Hey, Chloe," he says seriously. "Do you think it will be a boy or a girl? Let's call her Strawberry."